So I hope you can all see that. Yeah, so today's lesson, as you can see, is about introducing pop-ups, and our teacher today is Morris there, and we'll be passing over to him shortly. I'm just going to run through a few things before we pass on to Morris. There we are. So this is our agenda for today. 6 p.m. start. Tick that box. We're all here. It's good to see so many of you turning up today. And then in a second, we'll just do a couple of welcomes and introductions. And we're going to start off with introductions from ourselves, the Elementor group, and then we'll throw it out to you guys. Then we're just going to have a little look at what's new in Elementor. We've had a few updates recently from them in terms of the packages, so we'll talk about that. And then we'll get straight into today's topic from Morris, and then we'll end up with a little Q&A. You can ask him anything about what he's talked about today, and we're aiming to finish around 7 to 7:30. Not quite anything, and no difficult questions, please. Okay. Yes, of course. Well, I'll let you talk about which questions are appropriate when you come on. So we'll just start off with some introductions from the Sydney Elementor team. I will start with myself. As you can see, I am John, and I am a graphic designer, and I've been self-employed now for nearly 10 years. And I got into WordPress about 5 or 6 years ago, and about a year or two ago, I got into Elementor, and Elementor was, as a graphic designer, what I was looking for. It gave me the ability to build any website without needing to know any coding. That's myself. Will, would you like to introduce yourself? Will, you're on mute. Will.
There we go.
There we are.
I'm unmuted now. Thanks, John. So I'm a WordPress backend developer. I work mainly with APIs and systems, integrating everything together, and do a little bit of WordPress consulting as well. So I've been using WordPress for quite a few years now, since 2006, I think it was. So I kind of know WordPress inside and out, but I kind of pivoted my company a little bit last year and doing a little bit more business coaching, a little bit more online training, and doing a lot more video meetups like these. So thanks for joining us today.
Okay, Julia, would you like to introduce yourself? Take it off mute.
Sure, absolutely. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I'm a web designer. I work for a software company here in Sydney where we don't use WordPress at all. We use different platforms and different tools, but I also have my own little business on the side. And that's where I use WordPress and Elementor most of all. I've started using Elementor about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's where my journey is now here with you guys. So it's great.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Morris, like to introduce yourself, please?
Morris. Been playing around with websites probably for longer than I wish to care for. Probably did it from the front page days, and Windows and even CPM before that. So quite a while been playing around with websites. Now do it more as a hobby, a sideline, while working sort of an IT job in the meantime. And my team does websites, again, not using WordPress, but more business focused. So and been playing around with Elementor for about 1.5 years or so.
Awesome. Thanks very much for that, guys. Okay, so next up, I'll just briefly run through the code of conducts. We have a link that goes through to them there. Will is possibly sharing that one in the chat. I hope so. But, I'll just quickly run through it. We welcome everybody, beginners, experts, and everyone in between. Doesn't matter what level you're at, you're always welcome to this. We always have it the same time every month. It is always the first Thursday of every month. So the next month will be on April the 1st, as that was the first Thursday. And yes, make sure you join the Meetup group so you'll get notifications via email of when they are happening. Each meetup will be somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes long, depending on how many questions we have at the end and how much I talk, which is normally a lot. And here we are. Let's keep it fun and personal. If possible, turn on your camera. We want to see what you look like. But if you can mute your mic, that would be great, because Morris will be doing all of the talking. And then there will be time for questions at the end when we can turn on mics. Chat box will be up on the side. If you want to ask any questions, you can post them in there, and then Morris will look at them all at the end. And don't be afraid to ask the questions. We all want to know these things. There's no bad questions at all. And make sure you have a drink and snack handy. You can have a beer if you want. Any drink is possible. And kids and pet video bombing is totally acceptable. But yeah, make sure the microphones are off. Relax and enjoy. So next up, introduce yourselves. So I'm just going to turn this sharing off. We want to know a little bit about as many of you as possible right now. And what we want to know is just a little bit about yourself, similar to we just did. Just let us know kind of whether you use WordPress or Elementor. We also want to know sort of what level of Elementor you're at, whether you're a beginner or an expert. And then the main thing we need to know is what you're drinking right now. So show us what you're drinking. If you've got a nice beer or a nice cup of tea like I have, then go for that. So if you would like to introduce yourself, and we need a few of you, please. If you click on the more button at the bottom, reactions button, you will see it says raise hand. So if I click on that, you'll see a little hand raises up there. So here we are, there we are. And these are the people who would like to talk to us. Okay, Christoph, you can start off. And if you just make sure you turn on your microphone.
Okay, I've resisted the urge to open a home brew and I went with coffee. And so there's my coffee cup. You know, if you're a bit don't know how to drink, it's got two handles, which comes in awesome. One at the top, one at the bottom. I've been doing WordPress for 5-6 years, building websites for clients, and started stumbling over Elementor because the theme that I use used to use the page builder, WP WordPress page builder bakery, and then they introduced Elementor as their tool of choice, and since then I use Elementor, which is far more user-friendly than the bakery page builder.
Excellent. Thanks very much for that. Okay, next, Elisa, please. Turn on your mic.
Hi, I am a magazine publisher specializing in tourism magazines. So let's go. Now, so what I did with some of my JobKeeper last year was updated the website that accompanies that magazine. And having had WordPress for many years prior, my designer then introduced me to Elementor. So I am not confident with it because usually I get someone else to do the work for me, but I feel like I've got to work from the bottom up at the moment, and I'm here to learn. And the pandemic president thing, I'm also president of the Australian Society of Travel Writers, if that has any level of importance for any of you, because they're not working and they're not traveling. So yeah. Oh, I'm drinking a big bottle of water, and these are glasses to protect me from screen and migraine. So I'm actually going to be turning my video off and just listening for the majority of it. I will still be here, and thank you.
Good. Well, good to see you right now. Thank you for that one. Lorna, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm in Perth, so it's only 3 o'clock here, so I'm not ready for a drink yet. I work as a communication designer for national parks. So I build websites in my spare time, and I started my first one 20 years ago. So I've used all different sorts of software. And I've been using Elementor, which I discovered about a year ago, and I absolutely love it compared to everything else I've ever used. And although I've been doing it for a long time, I'm still in some ways very much a beginner because I'm having to learn Elementor, and I'm still learning about WordPress constantly. And I think one of the main reasons I joined this webinar today was because I recently tried to create my first pop-up with Elementor, and I just couldn't get it to work. And I went on to the Facebook group Elementor Lovers and posted the questionnaire, and other people said they had the same problem, and I just couldn't resolve it. So I gave up in the end and tried an alternate way of collecting emails. So I'd love to try and work out what's going wrong. Thanks.
Excellent. We've definitely come to the right place for that. That's going to be a good lesson today. So just a couple more left. Ron, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Sure, I'm Ron. I run my own business. I'm actually a solutions architect, but I also build platforms for customers. And one of those is a customer who wants to start something from scratch. And surprisingly enough, WordPress is a great platform to start from. And it's easy enough to find developers for. And I'm here because I also had, like Lorna, a problem with a pop-up not working on an iPhone, but worked everywhere else but the iPhone. So I'm hoping I can learn something new.
Thanks for that. Well, yeah, make sure you tune in for our next lesson as well, because that will be about making your website responsive on tablet and mobile. And that can often be a little bit difficult if you are kind of throwing something a little bit extra in, like a pop-up. So the last one then, before we move on to the next part, Sharon, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Hello, how are you? And I'm not going to show you my photo because I am currently eating, and it's always awful to watch somebody eating on video. And I'm drinking tea, very boring. I'm an operations coordinator for an aviation company on the Gold Coast. And recently we had a graphic designer create a new website for us. And I chose WordPress and Elementor because I had done a lot of research on it. But we're a small company, and so we've got no one actually to, make it work in the back end, or change things when we need to. So I'm it. So I'm here to gain as much information as I can. I'm an absolute novice. So everything that you tell me today will be gold. Very excited.
Hopefully.
Excellent. Love to hear that. So well, enjoy your cup of tea. And thanks for all of that, guys. Thanks for introducing yourself. I'll just switch back to my share screen. 1 second. This one, I think. So introducing yourselves, thank you very much. So yes, I'll just quickly run through a very recent update that came from Elementor themselves. You may have seen about this one via their social media, or just from kind of other people talking about it, that they're changing the structure of their pricing and all their packages. So take a look at the package that you've got right now and take a look at the new pricing. We have a little slide up here now, which will show you the old pricing versus the new pricing. Now, it depends sort of what kind of, what you need it for, basically. If you're just building a one-person website, then that's exactly the same, still $49 for a year. If you're building 1,000 websites, well, that used to be $199, it's now up to $900. But if you're building that many sites, well, you've probably got a company, and that's a lot of sites. But the prices will be changing, the packages will be changing on March the 9th. So if you have a package now and you want to upgrade to the next level, do it before March the 9th, and then you will stick with the old pricing rather than the new pricing. So let's say you're on personal, you need to go for expert, do it now. So yes, just go check out the website. You can see here, there's a blog announcing new pro plans where they'll talk you through it. It's still very good value though. So yes, that's more than enough from me right now. So I will pass you over to Morris, who will be teaching us a lot about pop-ups in Elementor.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think, David, if you're still there, I think David wanted to introduce himself. There's a message in the chat, but he didn't have the reaction button. David, are you there? You want to introduce yourself?
Yep, sorry. Yeah, I'm David from Wollongong. I normally work in enterprise IT, but I was between jobs when COVID hit. But I also do a bit of photography on the side, and that's how I got into Elementor. I built my photography site on Elementor, and I've just started doing a couple more on the side.
Great, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, great. Over to me. Can I assume you can see my screen? Is that right? Yep. Okay, great. Yeah, hopefully I can teach you something, because lots of people have said, yeah, they're looking forward. So what I'll do is I'll go through some examples of pop-ups. Obviously, we're not talking about that pop-up, but those annoying ones over there on the side. Just a little bit why we should use them, when we shouldn't use them. I've got a couple of examples of good ones and bad ones, and then I'm going to create quickly 3 pop-ups, one using a template, one which is great for beginners, I guess, one to build yourself, and just to show an exit intent, how that all works. And yes, Q&A after that, but no difficult questions, hopefully. So let's get on. So an example of a pop-up, we've all seen this sort of a pop-up, opens up immediately on the page. This is obviously the COVID alert. So within 2 seconds of this page loading, you can see that pop-up appears. Then you got the other one, such as Fiverr. Yeah, join us. Just pops up as you sort of open the screen soon after you open. Another one, purchase exit intent, which I'll show you how to do. Yeah, and as the mouse hovers to the top, so the pop-up comes, and that pop-up just covers the whole screen. And this one is the cookie settings. Yes, I'll show you how to do a cookie today, but reality is that there's lots that goes into a cookie, and whether people want to accept the settings or change the settings. So although I'll show you how to use a plugin, cookie, you can probably get a plugin for that anyway. I guess the main things why to use a pop-up, yeah, conversion rates are high. Even though people don't like them, conversion rates are still known to be quite high. It gets attention. It's like that other one, which was on the full screen. It's almost like a landing page, like Will was talking about last time. It's got one requirement, one thing for you to do, and just get on and do it and make it look good. It's almost like a mini web page, a mini landing page. And it almost costs you nothing to get those extra leads. That's why it's great to use. When not to use it, somebody mentioned they were struggling with the Apple iPhone and trying to get the pop-up to work. And that's a time when you probably shouldn't use a pop-up. I have read that you lose SEO points for pop-ups on mobile. So unless there's a real reason for them and you can't do it another way, yeah, the suggestion is not to use pop-ups on a mobile. But if you do use them, then probably style them properly so that they fit in the space. Just some examples of pop-ups that I didn't like, and unfortunately the first one's from the Elementor website. So hopefully I don't get fired as a result of this, but not that they employ me. But anyway, yeah, they've got two pop-ups on the same screen. As you open this page, the first pop-up, and a few seconds later another pop-up comes up, and that, I guess, is quite annoying to users. So yeah, that's one way. The other way is this one. There's actually a video playing in the back there, some training, and then this pop-up comes and just blocks the video, and yeah, you can't really see the video, and you're going to get rid of it. And then the worst part about this is, and I think that's where my mouse is going, is that the exit button is right in the bottom where you don't expect to see it. So you're trying to watch the video, you look for the cross where you normally find it in the top right, and it's not there. So I just close the screen and get on with it. Go and find that video somewhere else. So I guess that's the things. The user experience can be bad. It's especially annoying, like this example. Can cause the user to leave. I would have left the site, or in fact, I did leave the site. And it's, yeah, really difficult on mobile. So be careful on mobile. All right, so I think we're on to the demo. I've got a pre-recording, if I can find it, which I'll talk through just so that we can make sure we cover everything. Let's get started. So just loading up the site quickly. So I just created a blank site, one of the standard templates from Elementor. There's a nice booking button there. Obviously, it doesn't go anywhere, so put a pop-up there would be useful. And yeah, that's the page. So let me just close that and start building. So just to let you know, yeah, I'm using the Hello theme, the basic theme. The plugins, Elementor Pro, you need Pro for pop-ups. It's not available in the free version. So you need Elementor Pro. You don't need any pop-up plugins or anything like that, which is a big saving. yeah, just the hello theme is there. Let's get this thing moving. So it's in templates, you go to templates, pop-ups, and then you create a pop-up, you add a new pop-up. There's a number of types of pages, select pop-up, and then give it a name of some sort. So I'm just going to create a cookie. So click on create the template, and it'll come up with this. So there's a number of defined templates for pop-ups, and you can go and select hello bar, for example, or anything else. I'm just going to select one of these for a footer, the cookie footer. Just select that. My mouse jumped, so select it again. You can have a preview. If it looks okay, then just go and click on insert. All right, so you just start styling it and changing things as you would a normal Elementor page, and I'll just make some changes. And yeah, you can edit the fonts, all that, as you can, as I said, like a mini website, a mini landing page. The changing that button, the other button. So there you could just insert a button from your normal widgets. If there were no buttons there, then do some styling. Now what's important is what happens if they click no way. So in this case, I'm going to go to the link in content and say that, well, if they click no way, it must go to Google. .com.au, and if they click the OK button, I go to, so that button dynamic tags there on the right, go and find pop-up, and then you can see on the left that little spanner is the pop-up settings. So you click that and you go there and you say, I want to close the pop-up. So when they click on it, and I don't want to show it again, once they've seen it, I don't need to show it anymore on this website. And yes, just quickly style it. And yeah, want to change that image, same as you would change any image on Elementor. Yeah, just get rid of that movement, motion. And lots of motions you can use, but I'm going to get rid of that. And then you can see the close button. So because it's a cookie pop-up, we actually probably don't want a close button. We want them to actually click yes or no. So you saw at the bottom there, I clicked on settings. This is all the pop-up settings, and there's the close button to get rid of the close button. But generally don't do it, and there to move that pop-up to the bottom and publish. So conditions, so this is when you publish it. I want this on the entire site, so it doesn't matter where somebody comes in. I want this immediately on the page load. As you see, you've got lots of options, and you can do it a few seconds after page load, but I want it immediately. So I'm clicking 0, click next. Some of the advanced rules, how many times you want to show it. I don't want to show it more than once. But you can select devices, show it on certain browsers when they come from a specific website. So I've saved it now. I'm just going to have a quick look, and you've seen plenty of pop-ups, but here it is on the demo site. And it should come up any second. And there we have the pop-up appearing. When you hover over the no way, you can see in the bottom left, there's the Google link. And when you click OK, it'll just disappear. So that was a simple using a template and making it your own type of thing. Now I'm just going to go back to the dashboard and then just open up to create a new pop-up. back to pop-ups, add new, again, give it a name. I like using a pop-up for a booking form or something like that because it almost feels like a postcard or something like that you're filling in. Again, you could use one of the standards, but we're going to close that and just create our own. So again, the website, I want 2 columns. I'm going to have some heading text. Going to have an image of some sort. Put in a form. So just drag everything across wherever you need. And just clean up the form a little bit. So that's the form. I'm not going to go into too much detail in the form. That's probably a different session. Maybe put an image there of the doctor. And the pop-up is basically all done. You can go into the advanced mode. I'm not sure if I showed on the video, but afterwards if you'd like. Advanced mode and switch it off for responsive. So switch it off on the mobile phone if that's what you want to do. And there's your pop-up done. So this time I'm going to publish it, but I'm not going to go through any of the conditions, triggers, or advanced rules. I'm just going to save it. And now go back to the website, go back to my page. Because now I need to link it to that button, the booking form button. So click on that, go into what link. So you want a dynamic link, go and look for pop-ups again. Click on the settings. You wanted to open the pop-up, but which pop-up do you want to open? And then you type there the name of the pop-up that you created. And that's as simple as it is to link that pop-up to that button. You could do the same thing in a menu, for example. If you just click on the view at the bottom, it'll just, this one's showing the whole web page, so it's good. And there's your pop-up, now linked to the button. And as I say, you can do that on a menu or something like that. Just go back to create another pop-up. For this one, I'm probably just going to use one of the standard templates, again, just to be quick. I'll use one of the standard templates just to show you some of the, to show you the exit intent. All of those would be Pro because you need the Pro license for that. And just start changing this quickly. They're just getting some text in there. So now what I'm doing now is just copying that format and just pasting the format there. So you don't have to create the format again. what you can also do in pop-ups, put any sort of widgets that you like. So in this case, I'm just going to put a countdown as an example. You can use any of the Elementor widgets. And there's again just copying the formatting. And this is sort of a discount. Is the exit intent is this sort of thing. When people, I'll get back to that. I guess what I was wanting to say is when the exit intent is useful for sales or the last minute. Hey, before you leave, just buy this, sign up for that, things like that. That's when exit intent is useful. But you can choose, for example, to include this only on maybe a post of some sort. You can put it on a specific post or all your posts. You've got that option. I'm just going to put it on the entire site. Just going back there, you can also do an exclude. So you can exclude a specific page if you don't want to show this pop-up on a specific post, for example, and you post by specific author or category, whatever it is. So you've got that flexibility to what to do with the pop-up. Triggers, in this case, I'm going to do exit intent, so when they want to leave, but you can do, go back a sec. You can do when they come from a specific URL or whatever it is, you can show, you've got all those advanced rules. Only on specific browsers there, you can switch it off for mobile as well. So you don't want this pop-up shown on the mobile. Save and close. So if you have a look at this stage, all you're going to really see is not much, just the pop-up itself. But if you go to the website, and I'll create an incognito session, which I guess is why you will see the cookie again, the cookie policy, and then you'll see the pop-up exit intent working. Scrolling through the website, nothing happens, no pop-ups. But as soon as I think I should go, I get the discount offer. And I think that is basically what I pre-recorded. You can style any of these elements in the pop-up. In the pop-up, you can style anything. You can style the close button. You can anything that you like. You can really style. So you can make it look like the rest of your website. And I guess open for questions, and hopefully, as they're not too difficult, and hopefully I can answer them. Any questions? You want to put yourselves on unmute, and if you have any.
Yes, I have a question. It's Sharon here. What happens if you make a total mashup of it and you think, oh, I just need to go back to the start and start again? Can you delete it and not affect the dashboard and all that kind of stuff? I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, so here's all my pop-ups. Yes, I can go and delete the booking form, for example. I can export it if I wanted to save it and come back to it. But if I want to just get rid of it, I can trash it and then just do a new one.
Oh, terrific. Thank you.
And if you trash it while you're actually building it, so, or if you make one mistake, so let's just edit that pop-up, edit with Elementor. So if I've made a mistake, I can just go to the history and it'll show all the steps that I've just been through, and then you can just go back one step or 2 steps if you need to.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problems. Or maybe it's in, yeah, I think it'll be in Actions probably. All right. Anybody else? Somebody spoke about linking it to a CRM of some sort. I'm not sure if you would link the pop-up, and I haven't looked at the question, sorry. Not sure if there's any questions there. But you probably link your form to your CRM with actions after submit, and probably put in an action and add Mailchimp or Drip, or if you're using none of them, link it to another pop-up if you want to. Another pop-up could be, thank you for making an appointment, I'll be in touch with you, or thank you for buying my book, whatever it is. Yeah, that's another way. I don't know if that sorts out your query. But that's probably the way I would do it.
I've got a question.
Okay.
In terms of everything that you covered, I'm familiar with all of that, and use templates to create my pop-up. I also linked it to generating an email and ActiveCampaign. But as I said, I just could not get it to work. So I just wondered if anybody else had ever had any issues with pop-ups, was my question.
Yeah, I managed to link my pop-up to like Google Sheets and things like that, the form into Google Sheets. But I haven't really had that sort of issue. Anybody else?
When you're talking about the pop-up not working, do you mean it's not popping up, or the information on the form in the pop-up isn't working? What do you mean by not working?
Yeah, it was a form with just a name, an email, and the button. And you could fill out those fields, and then I'd just get something that would be spinning as if it was waiting to do something, and then nothing would happen. So the email wouldn't, nothing would be generated in ActiveCampaign. It wouldn't generate an email, and it wouldn't take me to and it happened to be a Google form that it was supposed to be linked to. So absolutely nothing happened. It just sat there and then stopped. So, yeah.
Okay, Lorna, there's quite a few things that could be happening there. First thing to check would be with your web host. So go back to your web hosting company and tell them you're having this problem, and they will check the WordPress settings and make sure that you've got enough memory, because there could be an issue with PHP memory there. But what is most likely, when you get the little spinner that goes round and round and round, it doesn't do anything, most likely that's a JavaScript error. Now, JavaScript is another language that the web browsers use, and it's used mostly in the clients, like your web browser, and that enables things like the pop-ups. But again, there can be quite a lot of issues with those. The most common issue with a JavaScript error is like a plugin conflict. So because JavaScript has it used extensively, there's lots of libraries, and sometimes some of these libraries can conflict with each other. So the best way to try and resolve that, I think, is disable everything, all the other plugins on your website. Just leave your Elementor or Elementor Pro, and test the pop-up against that. If it works, then you know there's a conflict between Elementor and another plugin, and you can start re-enabling the plugin one by one, and then go and refresh your pop-up to see if it works. And then you'll find out which plugin there's an issue with. If that doesn't work, then you can do the same with your theme. So sometimes themes come with lots of JavaScript as well, and sometimes they can cause an error. Do you know which theme that you're using, Lorna?
I'm using Hello.
Or using Hello? Well, that should be fine for that. So yeah, it's most likely a JavaScript problem. Do you know how to use the web browser's inspector, the developer tools?
Is that where you're just generating the page code underneath?
No, it's a little bit different. So there's like
No.
developer tools. No, there. So Morris has got it on screen just now. So if you right-hand click on your page where the pop-up is meant to be, or when it's spinning round and round, right-hand click and go down to inspect. See at the bottom here?
Yep.
Inspect or inspect element or something. This opens up this pane on the right-hand side with lots of googly stuff in there. What you want to do is click on the console. So Morris, you can click on console. That there is going to tell you any JavaScript errors. So you might have to, once you've done this, you might have to refresh your page and try the pop-up again to get it. But if there's any JavaScript errors, it'll tell you right there in that console what the error is, what's generating it, so you can figure out, you know, what plugin or what library is causing that issue. So that hopefully should at least allow you to debug that issue. And again, you can take that to your web host and say, look, you know, I've done this, I've got this error message. What do you recommend I do for that? And if that still doesn't work, then, you know, drop us a note in the discussion area on the meetup.com, or, you know, join us on the WordPress Slack group and just, you know, ask people there, and we'll try and help you out and get that working for you. But I'm fairly confident it's probably going to be a JavaScript issue with a plugin conflict somewhere.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
No worries.
Can I just ask, I don't know if it's a silly question or not, no silly questions, right, I suppose, but could you or would you potentially use a pop-up as a thank you for a form being submitted off a, say, Gravity form or something, rather than redirecting to a page or just having the standard text pop up? Would that be possible, or a waste of time?
I don't see a reason not to, except probably on a mobile phone that might be a bit difficult.
Yeah.
The others think.
Yeah, makes sense.
And just to have, and I see in the comments there, having too many pop-ups on a page is also problematic. People don't like them.
Yeah.
I mean, it would probably work.
No, I was just curious. Thank you.
I've got a question. For my workplace, I'm looking at designing another website, and we've just installed HubSpot. And I was thinking about installing or creating some pop-up or pop-up forms. Is there any way to connect in HubSpot via forms or via these pop-ups? I will also be having Jet Engine 2 by Crocker-Block, so I don't know if there's another way through that. I'm just sort of feeling my way with it, and it'd be good just to get a few pointers.
Yeah, I think that the way you probably, and somebody jump in if I'm wrong, you go into your form and then actions after submit. You would add a HubSpot if it's here, or if it's not here, you could probably do a web hook. Do a web hook to it. There might be an add-in or something for HubSpot. And then when you do the web hook, like here, you can link Zapier to this. But yeah, anybody got any tips on that?
I have seen.
If you look into it, and I was saying if you look into it and you install the HubSpot plugin, then you can probably link that to Elementor in the same way Mailchimp is linked to it, and you need all your codes and everything. So just try doing that, because as Morris says there in the drop down menu, it should drop HubSpot in there as well in theory.
Okay. All right.
So once you install the pop-up, once you install the plugin for HubSpot, yeah, it should. Yeah, I've installed the plugin for some other collection tool, and yeah, it just appears on this list.
So that plugin essentially allows for APIs to go. Is that what that is? Are they APIs there, or links to APIs?
Yeah, it will be exactly that. That's the way to set up Mailchimp. It's obviously set up to your Mailchimp account. Otherwise, you may even get Mailchimp in the dropdown, but if you don't have an account, you haven't put the API in, so it doesn't know who you are. Whereas you can just make it automatically go into that. So if you sign up to Mailchimp, let's say I've just got 2 campaigns in there, 2 audiences, I can select, this campaign with this audience that's already in there. And that's because I have it linked to Mailchimp. I've never done it in Elementor with HubSpot, but I've done it in Divi with HubSpot. So in theory, yes, it would work the same way. I think that it probably would, but just double check it, install the plugin and play around with that. That should in theory.
Yeah, like you have, for example, with Mailchimp, it asks for your API. It'll ask for your API key or something. That's where you can put it in, or you can put in integrations. I think there's integrations right up front. So yeah, once you've got your HubSpot plugin, it should be a bit easier.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I see Gavin with his hand up there. Gavin,
yeah,
question.
HubSpot plugin. There's a HubSpot all-in-one marketing plugin that links in with Elementor, apparently.
Okay, thanks.
Is that a
well, yeah.
freebie or
Check.
is that a
I'll
freebie?
copy the link in chat.
Okay.
It's also a question from Nicole, who asks, once the person fills in the details, where are the person's name and email details stored?
Once you fill in the details on the form. Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
Right. So it depends on what you select your actions after submit. So here I've got just a couple, but if I did email, you can say send the email to send the details here, and I want all the forms to be emailed there. So this is the basic one. It could be email, and I think we'll do a quickie on SMTP for email, so you can have a look at that. Just a little plug for Will there. But yes, setting up an email, you can do it by email, or if you have a HubSpot or a Mailchimp or something like that, you can link it to that, and it's all saved there. So it wouldn't, I don't think it would be saved on their website itself or in your admin panel.
There's a fantastic little plugin called Elementor Contact Form DB. I've just dropped the link in chat, and it basically saves all the Elementor forms straight in the WordPress database. So if you're just starting out and you don't have integration with Mailchimp or Aweber or anything like that, then you can just simply install that plugin, and it saves it to the database, and you can go and view all the data, the name, the email, and get that out of the WordPress database. It's probably not a good long-term solution, but certainly something that you can use while you get yourself up and running with Mailchimp or something like that.
Yeah, I have a question.
Gavin, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Morris, I've just noticed earlier when you had the discount pop up and then you open the inspect window, the timer actually was just like it's off the that portion there. Is that going to be like an issue with, say, responsiveness when you have like a smaller screen, or you made your browser window smaller?
Yes, I actually did a pop-up last night for a different purpose, and yeah, just styled the countdown timer so that it fitted within. I checked on a few phones and just made sure that it was small enough to fit on anything. There are a few websites that you can check various mobile phones, for example, and see if it fits on. And then I just style it so that it does fit, or remove a few things. Let me go back to that one and have a look at it. Which one is it? The exit one.
I've put a link in the chat, which is Responsionator, which if you just put your website into that, it will show you it in multiple different phone types, so be it Android or iPhone, and different types of iPhones. So in theory, yes, if you do it with a pop-up, it should work on that as well. So give that one a try.
Just to follow up on that responsinator then, I would normally use Google Chrome and like a developer thing, and because it gives you like an option for tablet and stuff, like they have different settings, but sometimes it doesn't really work in theory. Would this be a lot better? Is this a better option for it?
My advice would be to try both, basically. Just try everything that you can out there. And I mean, look, it's just, there's thousands of these out there, isn't it? My girlfriend's got an Android, so anything I do, I look at it on my iPhone, and I also look on her Android. And then my friend has a PC, so anything I do on Mac, I check on PC as well. So if you can physically check it with an actual phone, that's going to be much more responsive than checking one of these sites. But this is a good start. And then just Google it. You'll find another one if Responsinator, you know, if you don't believe that, you will find another one out there. There'll be plenty of free ones. Just get as much as you can. Send it around, just ask all your friends on social media, just check it on your phone, check it on your tablet, and then you'll get, you know, you'll find out if there's any problems that way.
Okay, thank you.
I must admit, I really, really do hate pop-ups on mobile. I don't think they work very well at all, mostly because trying to get rid of them, trying to find that small, tiny X in the corner, you end up with, you know, fat fingers not being able to click on something. So yeah, I always try and avoid pop-ups on mobile where possible, and then just try redirecting to pages instead of pop-ups. But yeah, as Morris said, you know, you can definitely use Elementor, you know, because it's got the different mobile options, which John's going to cover next month on how to resize it for the different devices.
Yeah, I think have a play around with them on mobile. Like the one that we can see right now in Morris's screen is kind of the full screen. But if I ever go on like the BBC News app on my phone, there's always one kind of running along the bottom, which is kind of hidden. It's below everything, but it is there. And it's just, you know, because BBC is not free in this country, unfortunately. But it's just running along the bottom, so I can still look at everything above it. It's like that when it's covering everything, then they get annoying because they're kind of in the way. So if you're going to do a pop-up, I suggest keeping it at the bottom, keeping it out of the way.
Nicole mentioned something in the chat. She was asking about Mailchimp. Is there a Mailchimp plugin for Elementor? And I just replied in there just to make sure that everyone knows that the Mailchimp is actually built into Elementor Pro. And in order to integrate anything, then you need to go to the Elementor and then settings and then integration. And once you put in your API keys, then that's when the option will come up on the form to choose that particular service. So you need to go into the integrations first and then set that stuff up, and then that'll appear in your forms.
I think
so
it's
yeah,
under,
there's no...
No, it's not under tools. I'm just trying to find it. I'm just trying to find
the integrations tab there. So.
I didn't see it. Sorry, was it on it?
Yep, settings, and then see the tab integrations,
and then
scroll down there. There should be like Mailchimp, there's Drip, there's Facebook. So that's where you integrate with the native Elementor API for third-party systems. I'm all about APIs. I love APIs.
Do we have any more questions? Either put your hand up or post something into the chat. Is there anything else we can help you out with pop-ups? Do a little ticking clock.
I've got a question. I've got a question. General question. There are so many different types of pop-ups. I really don't like them, but I keep, you keep hearing that they are effective. Of all the different styles, does anyone know if there's a particular style that is more effective than the others? Because they can pop up in all different ways from different sides, or yes, I'm just wondering if there's if there's a particular one that's most effective.
And what I've heard, exit intent is probably one of the better ones to put it on as somebody else tries to escape. Anybody else?
I mean, I think, again, kind of coming back to mobile, anyone that doesn't kind of involve too much, because if it comes up on your desktop and it's going to open you up into another page, or you're going to have to fill in a form or something, that's fine. So you can kind of have two screens open at once. When it's just on your iPhone, anything that's getting in the way of what you're trying to do. So as simple as possible, I think, is the right answer to that. Certainly on mobile, one that's not going to require me to fill in a giant form of all my details and my bank details and stuff like that. If it's just something of, hey, click here and you'll go through to another page, that's fine. So simple on mobile, a little bit more complex and detailed on desktop.
I agree with that. The simpler, the better. If you can do a yes, no pop-up, that's brilliant. Do that and then lead them. If they're interested, lead them on to another page that then collects data. Don't try and collect everything in the pop-up. That's just going to annoy people.
And I was going to add to that. I definitely agree with that. But in terms of styling, again, depending on the size screen, depending on what the goal of the pop-up is, also keep in mind that size can affect that as well. So depending on what why we have that pop-up in place, then we're going to decide whether it's going to be a thin one, long one, a banner styled one, or taking all the space on the page. I guess that would be my advice.
Thanks, everyone.
Anything else going around? Any more information we can give you? No, I think that's everything. Okay, well, we can wrap it up now. So let me share the screen again.
Just while you're doing that, John, I've just shared the results for the poll, just in case anyone's interested, just to see, what skill set people have. Most people were totally pumped today, so that was good. 3 people were meh, and that's understandable. How are you feeling? Where are you working from? Interesting, 85% are still working from home. There's one person back in office, one person in that kind of remote office hybrid. Most people here, 69%, are beginners with Elementor. 30% are intermediate. Interestingly, with WordPress, most people say they're intermediate. There's a few beginners as well. And even though you suffered through my misspelling of marketer, most people here are designers, developers, or other. So I'd be interested in what this other is. Probably business owners or something like that. So yeah, so interesting. Mostly beginners for here, which is good. So thank you very much for answering that poll. It certainly helps us to kind of shape the future meetups into what direction they're going to go. You're muted, John.
Sorry, I was possibly muted the entire time there. I was just saying thank you to everybody. Thank you to Morris for hosting the lesson there, and thanks for answering all the questions, and thanks to everybody for turning up and joining in today. I'm just going to switch over to my screen. Hang on, I've got that thing open, haven't I? This is on my screen, but let's go back to what we're looking at. Here we go. So yes, thanks everyone for turning up. And as I said earlier, we have one of these Elementor meetups on the first Thursday of every month. And the next one is April Fool's Day, April the 1st. And that will be at 6 p.m. And this will be on making your website mobile and tablet responsive. Because as we know, that's essential for every website these days. We'll talk a little bit about sort of percentages of people who are looking at certain websites on their mobile, but we'll take a good look at how that is all done in Elementor and how easy they actually make it, but how there can be a couple of things that kind of get in your way and how you kind of solve those problems, really. Yeah, so that one will be get this in your diary and make sure you sign up at Meetup and follow the group and just sort of share it around to anybody you know who may be interested in this sort of thing as well. It's good to see that we have so many beginners here, because when I was at beginner level a couple of years ago, I wish I had this much information to deal with, really. So yeah, excellent. And yeah, thanks for everything. Thanks, Morris, and thanks, Will and Julia, and thanks for everybody for turning up today.
Okay, thank you.